Hello everybody and welcome back to another Punishing Grey Raven video. Let's get into it. The new patch, The Arc Beyond, is live on the global servers of Punishing Grey Raven. And maybe you're new to the game. Maybe this is the patch that you finally decided to join. Well, welcome to the fun world of Punishing Grey Raven. And today, I'm gonna do you the wonderful favor, because of the saintly man I am, and give you a quick walkthrough of the latest event, things to look out for, and things to focus on. So why don't you jump in with me and let's learn more about the patch of The Arc Beyond. But before we do, make sure to drop a like and subscribe on the video, guys. I greatly appreciate the support. On to the content. Okay, so if you are coming into the game for the very first time, you're going to see this wonderful looking box right here. This is where you're gonna be spending most of your time during this patch. This is The Arc Beyond. When Punishing Grey Raven has an update, they always give you a cool little hub area to access everything that is relevant to that patch, which I think is always just very convenient and very helpful, and usually comes with some really cool looking art. And I think this time around, they have absolutely crushed it. There's quite a few different events that go on in this patch that you're going to need to keep an eye out for, and I'm going to walk you through some of them. However, some of the others aren't currently live at the time of recording, so I'll just be speaking a little bit to them this time around. We're going to go from left to right over here, and the first thing we have at the very top is the Extremist collaboration. This is actually a new cooperative event that has come to the game that I personally have never even tried before, apart from the solo mission, but I mean prior to this patch. This is a cooperative game mode where you're going to be able to work through different stage mechanics to fight bosses with other players. A perfect example is on this first stage with Musashi, I believe is the name of the boss again, Musashi 9. There is a stage where there's red orbs chasing you around. You dodge those orbs to break crystals, which then the boss appears and you can deal damage. It's a fun little extra mechanic. It adds a little bit of fun to it. There are some solo stages to do with it, but it is also a multiplayer event. And so you're going to eventually be able to queue up with other players in either a tank, support, or DPS role and do the battling. There's also going to be different stages and I believe different bosses that are going to unlock with these other stages, which is really fun. Something else to make it a little bit unique is that there are going to be talents that you're going to be able to upgrade for each slot. Just again, to be clear, that's for the slot of attacker, tank, and support and amplifier. It is not locked to characters, so you don't need to worry about that. Like for example, I've got Liv Imperia here. Well, I would probably upgrade anyway, but is not going to be bound to her on the support side. It is just for that role. So you can always focus a little bit more on the role that you would prefer to play or the one that you've got a better unit for, and that is totally fine to start. You should eventually be able to get enough currency that you're upgrading all of them a decent amount, so I wouldn't stress too much. If you do end up using your currency a little bit poorly, there's always a reset option too that you can use to reset it, but you can see there is a 24-hour cooldown on doing that. The currency you're going to be using is this computing power currency, which you get by completing missions within the game. So for example, I've already cleared the solo stage just to test it out, and that's where I got some of the computing power currency from. To unlock the multiplayer mode, something to keep in mind is you will need to be clearing these solo mission stages, so make sure to go ahead and give that a go if it's even before that the multiplayer stage has gone active, so you are ready to go and jump in at that time. This is a game mode I definitely would recommend that you cut out some time for, especially because in the mission section you can see there are some sweet event construct R&D tickets, which if you're free to play like me, that is literal gold for you, where you're going to be using that on the banners for either uniframes or omniframes. So if you want Hakama but you're a little bit short, I mean I wouldn't pull on Hakama if you're short on currency, but if you really want to, you can get a little bit extra here and get a few more pulls. So I would definitely suggest doing that because it's on the solo, it's on the multiplayer as well. On the other stages, there are some additional rewards, like you can get these trade vouchers for the exchange shop, but you know, the priority goes on the solo and multiplayer. That's this event in a nutshell. So make sure to try that out. I've had a little bit of fun with it on the first stage and I'm excited to play more of it. Next is the Operation Uniframe. So this is another game mode. That's another like combat stage where you're gonna have 3 different phases that are going to need to be played to unlock an overall boss fight. As you complete these different stages, it's going to add multipliers. Those multipliers are then used on the final boss stage to get your score for it. However, when you use units in certain stages, it does lock them to that stage. So the units you have going into this ice stage here, it is going to lock those units so you cannot use them on the Eclipse Generator or Power Lab, for example, when those stages also go live. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, this game mode is catered to uniframes. So I had somebody ask me in the last video in the comment section, what's a game mode that's catered to uniframes? Well, we found one. This is actually one of the game modes that you are going to be wanting to use your uniframes for. So if you haven't been building those, you might need to build them a little bit now because they're going to serve you best. However, if you don't have it built uniframes, you can use omniframes. They are just going to have a little bit of a debuff on those stages, but that's not going to stop you from being able to clear the event, so don't stress about that. Now, in this case, I did do the normal stage. So when you first open it, you're going to have the option to select a normal difficulty or a higher difficulty. If you have a lot of really built units, feel free to pick the higher difficulty and have some fun with that. I do not have a lot of super built units, especially uniframes, so I picked the lower difficulty this time around. But yeah, make sure to pick whatever is best for you. This stage as well, I would also suggest you definitely make some time for, because this shop is where you're going to unlock not only the executions for uniframes, but this is also where you're going to be unlocking the currency to unlock the ascensions for characters. So if you're like me and you've been building Lee Palefire, for example, he gets his ascension in this patch that gives him a leap ability that you're going to need particular resources for that you can get from this game mode. So make sure you're making time for that. Disco Panini. It's not currently open at the time of recording, but you can look up some other footage for it online on YouTube. It's effectively just like a dancing minigame that's using like the chibi units. Typically, those minigames don't really come with like black card rewards, but they do give you some other extra resources for not usually a lot of effort. So make sure you just kind of, do that. It's usually really easy to keep up with as long as you're doing like, like a little bit daily, like as the new stages and stuff unlock. So make sure to just give that a little bit of time, but I wouldn't stress over that game mode very much, as long as there's no black cards. If there ends up being black cards in it, get that done. Free to play life. You got to make sure you're doing that. Spectroscopic Binary Star is actually a recurring game mode that some of you have probably played before. This game mode, it is locked, so I can't show you the actual stages, but what's going to happen is you're going to have a series of levels that you're going to battle through. On the normal mode, you do get some trial characters, so if your roster is really low, don't worry about that. You got trial characters that you can use to clear it. However, in the higher difficulty for it, and as you get deeper into it, you have to use your own built units, so something just to keep in mind there. Similar to the Operation Uniframe, the way the Spectroscopic Binary Star event works is, again, it is a series of stages that you need to battle through, but as you use a character on a stage, it locks them to that stage. Then you have to use different units for all subsequent stages. So you have to be really thinking about what stages you have next, and really setting your teams up for success and making sure that you're having the most optimal combinations for those stages and battling through. I can't recall if this one has black cards. Again, kind of like Disco Panini, if there is black cards, again, always prioritize time in these events. Also, it's a fun little extra combat mode, so if you want to find more excuses to play, beyond just clearing Pain Cage or Warzone, and you want more stuff to do if you're done the story and you've cleared all of that, you can always just jump into the Spectroscopic Binary Star game mode. There's always more to do. Jumping over to the right side of the event here, we've got the Machine Precursor. This is our event stage. So over the course of this patch, you can see there's these different stages at the bottom here. There's scripture, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Within each stage, you are going to have a stage 1 or a part 1 and a part 2. As you clear those events, you can then either choose to continue to farm the first stage for increased currency. That's always tied to this event, or there will be an option to farm for random memories. It is typically always recommended to farm the first stage because you get an extra amount of the currency, which you can then use in the event shop. So especially if you are pulling on Hakama, this is where you're going to be able to get her optimal set. Basically, like super easy for free. You just, you know, burn a little bit of stamina on the stage, get the currency, and you can buy the next memory for the slot. And then as well, over the course of the event, you can continue to farm that and get more of them, so you can start getting your resonances and up them to an optimal spot. I really leaned into that on the last one for my Nanami Starfarer, and her resonances are actually in a really solid spot now. So I would definitely suggest doing that. If you are not pulling on Hakama and you do not give a rip about these memories right now, you can always switch over to the special shop where it's got all of the standard Omniframe memories that then you can choose to redeem here. Again, farming them out to polish your resonances, or just get them for the first time if you haven't already. There's also additionally a limited shop where you can get some gifts. You can also buy the dorm furniture here that you can then choose to place. And then in the normal shop, again, you can then buy some additional resources with the event currency as well. This is a great spot in particular to get cogs. You can get these boxes that give you 100,000 cogs, which is always nice. Or you can also use them for the overclock materials. That's often, if I do need materials, I will get them from the shop here. It's unlimited and there's a pretty good number of them. So something else you can always keep in mind. But that is going to be the stage. The only last detail is as you clear these stages, you get authority level, which gives you perks on clearing these stages. If you do hit authority level 25, which I did in the last event, you can then just start auto clearing it. And that even goes for multi clears. So if you go in and you're going to multi clear, you know, 8 stages, you can then go in, auto, boom, done, all 8 stages get cleared at the same time. It's really saves you time eventually, but you know, you got to grind your way up to authority level 25. You get some black cards along with it. So again, don't sleep on that. This is a great way to get resources if you're struggling and to work on your memories. These 2 stages here that are currently locked, the Illusionist and the Godseeker's Psalm, these are just trial stages. So there's the Construct trial stage over here, where that's where you can just try out Hakama, and then the Illusionist is where you can try her out with her coding. Again, there's not usually black cards to be won there, but you know, some extra resources just for your time and trying them out. If you are really, you know, wondering still if you want to pull for Hakama, if you think her play style is for you, always try out these trial stages first before you pull. It should be live at the time that this video goes live, so just make sure to try out those trial stages first. And the last thing you can do, guys, in this patch is the Arc Beyond Extended Story. And that's where you can go through, and this is a continuation of the Her Last Bow patch, which we just had with Nanami Starfarer. And so if you've been really enjoying that, you can go through and continue that story here and learn more about Hakama. I am still behind on the story, so I'm probably going to hold off on that because this is something that will always stay in the game. This is being permanently added, so don't stress about this. You can always come back and clear this story at any time. The resources and the clearing bonuses are still going to be there waiting for you when it's time, so don't even worry. That's going to be it for this one, guys. That's what's going to be happening over the course of this patch. Things that you can do, activities that are coming. Honestly, overall, I would say this patch is looking pretty good. I think a lot of the events that are happening look to be like really fun, different events. So make sure to give those a try. And if you're an experienced player, maybe you've done some of these before, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of these different game modes? Are you excited that Spectroscopic Binary Star is back? Are you really annoyed with that? And did you find that really difficult? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that. As I said before, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you making it this far in the video. It always warms my cold heart when you guys do that. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.